Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. I almost said Burden of Command. Oh my gosh. We're playing Victoria 3. Uh, Today, I'm going to do a little reorganization. I want to actually get the military garbage done first, because that'll give me a better visual to what my finances look like long term. And I really, really want to get homesteading. We're kind of... I wouldn't call this situation here the edge of the knife, but there is still a tiny chance of repeated debate failures causing a long-term problem for me. So we're doing our best right now. I'm extremely optimistic, but I'm not 100% optimistic, if that makes any sense. Anyway, ooh. Silk is still very cheap. There've got to be markets in the world that need silk. I guess not really. Although, I guess my market is maybe, like, a lot of the buy orders are from trade. Oop, I'm not sorted by market price. Like, why can't I find it if it's so cheap? Because I'm not sorted by market price. Yeah, it's a lot of it's being traded out. Anywhere I can export to profitably? There are a few. France, Prussia, Britain. With that having been said, I'll hang tight on that because I don't want to overrun my bureaucratic capacity. No bread, no freedom. Our prohibitive import tax on cereal grains has made it difficult for the poor to afford bread, with people in Henan approaching the starvation line. They say that tariffs are in place to protect every Qing farmer from falling wages and starvation, that without them the markets would be flooded with bread we'd be too poor to buy. To that I say to hell with the tariffs. I'm already starving. At least without them there might be bread a starving man could steal. Once again, I'm going to pick the poor too must reap the benefits of our economic policies to increase minimum wage by 10%. I'm not going to go with a bunch of lower starting pops becoming radical, which is the other option. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. We need another general for the plain white banner army. Ooh, this fellow seems good. He's a traditionalist, but he's got some good characteristics. We've also got another armed forces guy. Ooh, there's dialectics. Beautiful. So, before we go to the general, we'll do stuff with research. I could grab central archives, that would be very useful. I could grab central banking, that would prove very useful. With dialectics, I can increase the I can enable philosophy departments, which turn paper into innovation. Anyway, that's that thing. So for text, what do I need? What do I need next? I definitely need central archives eventually. There's a lot of good stuff in the tier 2 in society. And more importantly, I should knock out some items in here. Not because I need them specifically, but because that's going to make it faster for me to get to steel frame construction, which is vital to our long-term economic health. With that having been said... Ooh, actually... Let me look at this. So this will unlock children's rights, which is useful. But this is what unlocks health insurance. Pharmaceuticals. So I'm actually going to go there. I've got empiricism is what unlocks education laws, right? Yeah. So pharmaceuticals is probably where I'll go next. But let's take a quick look in production. Chemical bleaching would allow me to produce a bunch more paper, but I need crystal glass before I do that. Water tube boiler would increase the capacity of my mines. Nitroglycerin would be good for my explosives industry. So I think we'll actually do that, because the combination of these two are good for mines. And getting out... Oh, I could also do mechanized workshops to produce more clothes. And furniture, which would be nice. And then let's take a quick run at military. Screw frigate and hydraulic cranes I will almost assuredly wait to spread to me. I've currently got rifling spreading. Gorsh, how long would it take if I went directly to breach loading artillery? 7 years. All right, not useful. Not useful. I would like to get breach loading artillery though, because shrapnel artillery is very, very good. Hey, you, give me the skinny. You take artillery and ammo. All right, so I don't need a tech upgrade in order to be able to afford those. Could go up to triage, but triage isn't super duper necessary for me right now. And I got rifling spreading. So yeah, I think actually the place we're gonna go is the production zone. Actually, I'm gonna do water tube boiler first. We got nitro spreading, but we'll clear that out afterward, whatever's left of nitro. And then I'm just gonna queue in a bunch of the tier 2. Ooh, postal savings would be good for my investment pool, because I am going for homesteading. Modern sewerage would be really good, because infrastructure per 100,000 population is highly relevant for my build. And then we'll knock out nationalism and see where we are. Labor movement would be good medium term as well, so we'll grab that. And then we'll kind of reassess. But we'll just do a bunch of things that were being useful. As you can see, I've got a lot of unspent innovation now that I'm running philosophy departments, even though I've got censorship and I'm an unrecognized great power. So let's circle back to the armies. This army, I can take advantage of the. Let me see. Let's grab another one of these fellas. This guy's a royalist, so we'll give him heckin' promotions. And then who else have we got? We got more scholar officials dudes. I don't know who Guofen Zheng is. He is a traditionalist, so he is potentially a problem. I'm going to put him in the Zhili Green Standard Army, and we're going to promote him to a lieutenant general. He is he's a very good general, but I'm going to be careful about traditionalists, I say, as I've promoted a royalist, and an authoritarian. You know, these things are what they are. Oh, right, the plain white banner army. Yep, and now I got just scholar officials dudes once again. We'll go with one of these tactful, moderate woodland combat experts. Nothing too strange to do about that. So basically, the reason that I'm... Ooh, new journal entry, the philosophy department. So in order to accomplish that, I've got to get... this one is one that I want to try to get. Philosophy department, I got 10 years to do this. I need a level 5 university. So we'll go to Beijing for that. We've got the infrastructure available. We'll just queue in 3 more levels of universities. Beijing doesn't have any universities. Well, oh, that's right, because I didn't have any freaking infrastructure there. That is okay. We'll put those at the end of the other universities. We'll actually put them at the top of the other universities. So that they get done sooner. So why am I building out my military expansion when I kind of need the other stuff more urgently? It's because I am in a period of increasing costs. I'm increasing expenditures, and I don't want to... I want to make sure that the amount that I'm increasing my expenditures by doesn't goof up my cash flow to the degree that I can't do other stuff. So I just want to see what those numbers look like, and if I need to make additional changes. Farmers' cooperatives champion homesteading, seeking to eliminate the need of middlemen by bringing together farmers, laborers, and shopkeepers in a cooperatively owned business. A newly formed farmers' cooperative in Shengjing, desiring to improve the lot of their constituent members, have used their considerable local influence to push for the enactment of homesteading. Each family had come together, whether they made chairs, picked fruit, or tallied who sold what. It was agreed that the best chance of a future was to wrest control of where everything went. Fruits and furniture would stay under everyone's reach. Vegetables and vanities would be sold at a fair price, with fair splits going to those who stock the shelves. It would never be much, but nobody would go hungry either. Peasants influencing Beijing? How quaint. 10% enactment chance. Or laud their model of business as a vision for tomorrow's world. Stronger rural folk by quite a bit. And in Shengjing, 5% of peasants and 2% each of laborers and shopkeepers become more loyalist. I got 59% enactment chance here. I'm going to go with the loyalists. That's going to be a lot of loyalists. Yeah, there we go. That's a good chunk. Harvest condition heat wave in Shuzhuo. Alright, nice. If I were really, really nervous about this, I would go up to 70%, but I'm not actually. I think this will be fine. With a 60% success chance every tick, I'm feeling pretty confident in my overall ability. So, let's take another look at Northern Anhui. Northern Anhui, to make sure that we're profitable here. Okay, munitions plants are not profitable because of the price of explosives. Explosives factories are continuing to produce more. Oh man, no! Don't downsize! No! No! You need that. You need that, gosh darn it. Okay, hold on. Hold on. I can't increase the demand for fertilizer too much. So let's go with... Let's maybe convert some more armies. I've already done these two armies up to skirmish infantry. Let's convert this one. Just to keep munitions prices high and keep the demand high in this supply chain. Because munitions are... they're still expensive. AntiSpanish League demands action. The AntiSpanish League has requested that we dissolve our trade agreement with Spain. Successfully acting on the proposal will gain our government significant goodwill from the lobby. So the Anti-Spanish League consists just of the Confucian scholars. Not particularly interested in that. Oh, but they'll be big mad if I don't do it. And to those who would refuse and prefer preserving the status quo, there was no hesitation. His response sounded well rehearsed because it was. This was a proactive man, one who spent hours pacing his chambers and anticipating attacks to come. My reply would be that we should never have allowed ourselves to grow so close to them in the first place. A friendship built upon deceit is nothing, and the goodwill gained from it illusory. You know what? We'll look into this. That's fine. So that adds that journal entry. We're still friendly. We'll end our trade agreement. Lobby demand completed. And that is what it is. So, Russia's going after Kokand for the return of Sirdarya, Kyrgyzia, and the conquest of Fergana. They're going to leave them Tajikistan. Who's likely to align in here? Obviously, this is Lahej. This is Finland. Not too concerned about either of them. And there's Serbia. So, I can get Kokand as a subject if I defend them. So the question is, do I think I can take Russia? Russia has a lot of battalions and the ability to get a lot more. But they're still rocking line infantry. Well, I'm still rocking line infantry. I don't think so. Not yet. I'm gonna wait. There'll be time enough for that later. Once I've gotten all this tech stuff sorted out. Spain wants trade. Sure, why not? Anti-Spanish League will be a little bit salty, but not nearly as salty as they would have been had I not dissolved it initially. So let's go. I'm so good at politics. Alright, so as you can see, I think these military improvements are... Hey, there's homesteading. Beautiful. Excellent. So I think these are slowly increasing the amount of the government expenditures. And over a very long amount of time, these will increase the size of the Bohai Gulf fleet. I'm going to move them back to port. I think that makes it easier for them to hire if they're in port. And then we'll be increasing the size of the Minja Green Standard Army because this will be becoming, you know, a proper army with a lot of artillery and Lancers. I think the Zhili Green Standard Army is going to be next. Although the Shangan Green Standard Army has a lot of potential as well. But again, we got to keep track of expenditures here. I need to be conscientious about that because I'm not actually that powerful. Like, these armies are good, but they're not modern armies, not yet anyway. I am trying to improve relations with Russia as well. How's Burma? They're almost ready to become a vassal, which is nice. Let me take a quick look at my subjects to make sure that everyone's chilling and vibing, and it looks like the answer is yes. By subject type, I only have Burma and my tributaries. Everyone else is a vassal. Yeah, things are looking good. Things are looking pretty good. So from here, hey, there's rifling. Wonderful. That'll let me produce a boatload more small arms, which is important. Wow, I have a lot of arms industries. Rifling completed. Modernizing the arsenal. The change in large-scale production from smoothbore muskets to rifles in the arms industry in Shandong has ushered in a new era for small arms production in Great Qing. Even from 1,000 yards, you can still take the shot. Forward artillery positions can be harassed. Bayonet charges stop before they've even commenced. The advantages are innumerable. Unless we develop sufficient manufacturing capabilities to produce these weapons, we are bound to face disaster on the battlefield. The Jinan arsenal shall be famed throughout the world. Extra migration attraction and throughput for arms and artillery industries. Or, Great Qing shall be at the forefront of military innovation. Extra progress towards repeaters and half the other bonuses. I'm going to go with the progress towards repeaters. That is going to be very useful long term. Again, I almost always go for innovation if I can get it, because long term getting extra innovation is really nice. Alright, so I got Screw Frigate spreading to me now. Which again, I think that's the best place for Screw Frigate to be, is spreading to you and not spending any of your precious innovation. Precious innovation. Although, my innovation's going that way, even so. Barracks are getting built. Slowly, but surely. Again, these numbers going slowly downward is part of why I'm not building up the construction industry, because I need to have at least one functioning army. And by functioning army, I think you should really understand that what I mean is an army I can invade Japan with. Like, that's really, if we're being honest here, because I think some territorial aggression against Japan is in the cards. Long-term goals. We want to invade Japan. So this fleet is up to 62. You get 35. Yeah, this is going to total up at 65. Miniature Green Standard Army is going to go up to 70, though. So I think I want a little bit more in here. Let's just do a block more of 5 frigates. We'll finish out Eastern Guangdong up to maximum naval capacity. And we'll just throw these in at the top of the queue ahead of all of the barracks that we haven't started building yet. And then those will get built within a reasonable time frame. Looks like we've outrun the investment pool, so now we're spending money. Which again, totally fine. The investment pool is pretty low at this point. So the investment pool is now spending less and allocating more funds to the government, and that's why that's happening. I've got the authority for another consumption tax, but honestly, I don't think it's worth it. Not at this point, anyway. Alright. So once these get built, I can finish out those railways that I've been working on, and after that, I can cut my my decrees, and then figure out what I want to do with my decrees longer term. Literacy has been slowly going up. I think that's due to the proliferation of universities and the increasing standard of living, because standard of living has been up a little bit over time. I know it dropped down mostly during the enactment, during the removal of serfdom, but it was also down a little bit right at the beginning because I applied a bunch of consumption taxes, and consumption taxes do macro scale reduce standard of living quite a bit. So let me see. I got 31 million in the reserve. What's the reserve limit? The reserve limit is 22 million. So I'm actually quite a ways above my reserve limit right now. I can definitely afford to be a little bit brazen with my construction. I can definitely afford to kind of go a little bit buck wild, but not too much. Let's look at the private construction queue. Okay, so the private construction queue is running out. Okay, so part of what's gone on right now is that the changing up the structure of the upper class has meant that a lot more of the, which I've done as part of homesteading, a lot more of the businesses are owned by farmers, and farmers don't invest as much. So that's part of why the investment pool is not running the way it maybe typically would under a more aristocratic-focused economy. So that's why that's happening. So maybe going to homesteading was not the best idea. On the other hand, the rural folk have never been stronger, and they're draining a lot of power out of the scholar officials, and that is, long-term, a very good thing to have. Now, how would it be if I could go to proportional taxation? That would be very bad for the government's finances. I feel like going to per capita is mostly inevitable. I need to industrialize more before it's productive, because my peasant population is still enormous. Like, that's really the issue. Per capita taxation, the rural folk do prefer this to land-based, and frankly, I can understand why. It's definitely something that needs to be done in the long term. Hey, and there's corporate charters. Maybe I'll get myself a company. Companies. What do I want? You know, reduce radicals from political movements is always nice. Extra bureaucracy, though. Actually, 10% bureaucracy is nothing to sneeze at. Let's do this. The Qing Paper Company. It's going to cost a lot of money. That's okay. What else? Let's do the United Jiangxi Textile Producers. That one also costs a lot of money, and that's okay. Alright. All play and no work. General Zhu Zhang's personal habits are starting to get in the way of his role as a general. So he's an armed forces guy and a royalist, but he's also an opium addict. Zhu Zhang smiles at the officer, exultantly, avidly. His eyes have obviously seen better days. Carefully recumbent on his leather armchair, his voice comes out as rubbery as the material. That's a stressful job, you know. No need to make it even more stressful. Fire him, or he's too valuable. Reduce morale damage. We'll fire him. Sorry, Armed Forces. I had to fire him, but you get it. A Foreign Manifesto. The recently translated works of Karam Singh Dhillon have become popular within the liberal movement. The relationship has developed to the point of Karam Singh Dhillon openly endorsing the movement. And for a whole large class, there is no other road, especially for a nation so eminently practical as the Qing. The great thing is to get the working class to move as a class, that once obtained, they will soon find the right direction, and all who resist will be left out in the cold with small sects of their own. Our struggle is an international one, 10% stronger liberal movement, or this foreign influence ought to be punished. Weaker movement, more active, industrialists, mad, and weaker. I'm going to go with the first one. We'll strengthen the liberal movement. How are the industrialists? They're at 3%, they will soon be demarginalized, and hopefully, at that point, we'll be able to get them into the government. While the government is headed up by a market liberal, which this guy is, it probably will be for the next 20 years, I think the landowners and the industrialists might be able to be friends. I'm considering the possibility that going to homesteading might have been a mistake, but I don't think it was long term. Let me see. 10% from this guy, 10% from this guy. I'm just checking these total numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 26% plus 10 and 10. And I think I don't actually have any laws increasing the power of... No, but I do have governance principles and distro power laws that are increasing the power of aristocrats. That's why that's happening. I see. So it's the aristocrats... Hold on. An internal investigation has discovered that a government official received many gifts from Liu Sun on behalf of the Anti-Spanish League. The official leading the investigation details his findings. Does Liu Sun have no integrity? Among the gifts sent, the following was found. A half-dozen parcels of cloth, a carving knife, a pocket knife, 5 pairs of gloves, 23 barrels of salt, and a dozen bottles of Qing's finest colonial water. Is this not bribery in support of the Anti-Spanish League's cause? They've done nothing suspect. 5% of Confucian scholars' pops become more loyalist. That's a good get. Or perhaps the leader should step down. Liu Sun resigns. And +5 legitimacy. I'm going to go with the first one. I love loyalists. How much does that actually change things? We'll find out in a second. Not much. Okay, never mind. I guess the Confucian scholars are not as big as I thought they were. Let's take a quick look at the census. I want to see how much the number of aristocrats has gone down over time. Can I see just that? Population. Never mind, I guess. Alright, so financially, from the government's perspective, homesteading, not a great call. But I'm still reasonably confident that it was the right call ultimately. Are these businesses functional? The fertilizer plants are still not. Alright, let me implement new production methods for the rest of my farms. This is the big one. Alright, so that's made fertilizer extremely expensive. So, we'll queue in another... Well, before we queue in more, let's just let them go for a bit. We're not going to get improved fertilizers until we've got... until we're at tier 3 in production. Yeah, that's over here. So that's going to be a while. So I'm definitely going to need to build more fertilizer plants. Oh! The death of Daoguang Emperor. So, our new emperor is Yizhu Emperor. He is a traditionalist, aligned with the scholar officials. He has expensive tastes, and he is cautious. So, new thumbnail time. I'll need to look up those classical images. I'm very happy about this number continuing to increase. So yeah, so this is we've got a new emperor finally. As always, authority is down. Have I built the railways in northern Heilongjiang yet? Not quite, but we're getting there. British diplomatic play. Well, 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 well. Ban slavery in Burma. Treaty port in Formosa. I'm gonna add a transfer dynam war goal. That's my goal. And we'll mobilize the armies. So this will be good. So in order to do this, I need to build more munitions plants, and I'm going to need to build more fertilizer plants. So we'll... Is that the right call? Or do I skip the rest of the universities too? I think tragically, I skipped the rest of the universities too, because I'm going to need these. Put these universities at the bottom. Put these gold mines at the bottom. There we go. Perfect. Alright, construction queue is construction queued. So, I have a couple countries I could sway. I could sway France and I could sway Cambodia. So let's, wait until we're swaying Cambodia. Now, Let's get the Minja Green Standard Army over here. Oh my gosh, British Raj is in there. Oh, this is gonna be tough. I'm upgrading units. I gotta do this. This is gonna cost me just so much money every dollar. But if I play this right, oh, this could be an absolutely wild time. In fact, the temptation to say fuck it, un-Britishes your Raj is just so high. We'll wait on that for now. We'll wait till we're a little bit later in escalation. I'm going to need to set up new ammunition import routes. So let's set them up. Yes, Britain is funding my... We'll leave them at Midland for now. We'll see how things go. Western Australia, damaging relations. Alright. Cambodia wants to support their independence. No, thank you. We'll see if I can get France in on this. Because that's the primary thing I need to... That's going to be useful here. Van Diemen's Land is damaging relations. So, my friends. The French, you want a war goal? Transfer subject. What do you want? You want Travancore? So be it. The ground powers versus the naval powers. Now I can still bring in Cambodia. I don't think I can bring in anyone else, but it doesn't seem like Britain can bring in anyone else either. France is going to be... It's going to be on France to defend this. They're going to go for treaty ports in Formosa and Carnatic, which is in Denmark. They're going to try to steal Tunis, and then they're going to try to humiliate France. Alright, well they can't do too much more to me. So there is a chance that I will just straight out lose this war. But I'm hoping I won't. Alright, there's the railway in North Heilongjiang. So let's go ahead and cancel the road maintenance decree there, and that'll give me some more authority to play with. I'm still infamous, but should be so for only a year or so longer. Let's get a few more of these armies mobilized. I need to be able to fight the Raj and fight them good. In fact, this is going to be a little bit of a shit show, at least initially. Because a lot of these armies are still getting themselves mobilized. Bordered Blue Banner Army. Let's get them over here. I don't think Britain's going to naval invade me while there's... Actually, let's get them here. Because I don't think Britain's going to naval invade me while Dai Nam is existing. These are all the war goals for Great Britain that we saw before, right? Yes. I may need to... No, I can afford to continue building during this war for at least a little while longer. Alright, yep, here are the armies coming in, so I need to... I may need to start conscripting, actually. I'm very short on fertilizer now, but I'm bringing in a lot of munitions from abroad. And building a lot more munitions plants. Do I have any decrees right now currently in? I do not. Alright, so all the decrees that I had running are no longer running. Let's see how things go. Again, I'm hoping I can get these armies upgraded fast enough to not suffer a giant problem here. Let's grab the Gili Green Standard Army and get some artillery recruited. We'll do 10 levels in Western Hubei and 10 levels in Chongqing. I'm going to put those right after... holding shift. So smart and good at video games. I'm gonna... Oh, man. I need to do them first. I'm sorry, it simply is what it is. I need to get at least a few of these armies in sufficient artillery for them to be able to function. If I add a Liberate British Raj war goal, I might be able to capitulate them, but I might be screwing myself. Where's the current capital of the British Raj? Okay, it is still West Bengal. And the capital of Dainam is Tonkin? Yes. Alright, so I don't need to set a strategic objective there. That's the only part of this front that I've got access to. I think for our Sean Green Standard Army, I'm going to conscript artillery. We'll get them from the capital, and we'll raise them. We'll do the same for cavalry, actually. Again, this is going to cost me a fair bit of cash, but I think it is worth it. Okay, this... This front is not as strong as I was hoping it would be. So let's get some more units up there. This front is very good. I think I might be able to un-British their Raj. With French help, I might be able to un-British their Raj. Britain's keeping a few maneuvers back in the pot. I'm gonna do it. And we're gonna see if this winds up being a massive mistake. Anyway, that is all the time we've got for this episode, my nerds. I will see you next time for a large war. But for now, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.